Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Just an Artist checking in. Today, I wanted to go over the renovation property as promised to kind of go over the numbers and what all kind of happened with that property. This is going to be a very big, brief overview of all the different things that kind of went on. This video is going to be a little longer as there's quite a few things to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do that, I wanted to kind of point out my new merch. Renting Freedom is the name of our LLC. The motto is achieving financial freedom through rental properties. I guess briefly what that means to me is accumulating assets, income producing assets that can replace your W-2 job. So you're not stuck to going to office 9 to 5 every day or whatever the case may be. And that allows you to, live financially free to go do the things that you want to do in life. Not have to worry about working that W-2 job and kind of stuck to that. So that's kind of what the whole channel is themed on. That's what we're doing. We have a goal to acquire 15 properties because once we get to that number, that is where we feel like we will be comfortable with, me leaving my W-2 job. Currently we're at 9, so we are on our way. Okay, so kind of direct attention to the screen. What I wanted to talk about is this property here. So we just bought this property. Well, I guess we bought it in November, actually October of 2022. So this is 1 acre, and this is in the Lakewood community in Monk's Corner, and it has 2 houses on it. I'll give you a couple pictures. This is the actual listing photo that we saw when we were looking for properties. So this is a mobile home, double wide mobile home, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And then over here is the other home that's on it, which is the one that we've been renovating. Show you a couple pictures. So this is the inside. This is what it looked like. Day one had this little wall here. You can see the guy that we bought it from actually started ripping out a lot of stuff. He started redoing all the floor joists, and all these floor joists are new. A lot of the flooring in here is new. Like all these pieces of plywood here are new. Ripped out all the walls and sheetrock and old insulation and stuff. So he did a lot of work to it, prior to us buying it. And you can just kind of tell as well by looking at the pictures that it's real dry in here. It's not wet and water wasn't getting through or leaking. So that was a big indicator for us that this is a nice house with a solid foundation, something that we'd be willing to invest in. So that's the property. I wanted to show you kind of the history. So this is the MLS. Only realtors have access to that. So my mom's a realtor and I'm her assistant, so that's how I have access to it. But you can see back in August 17th, 2022, the sellers originally listed this property for basically $400,000. Obviously that's a good amount of money, but we ended up actually paying $242,000. I guess October 17th is the date that we closed. So how did we get that such of a big of a discount? Well, one, you can tell that they were motivated. So as time was going on, they were reducing their price, 365, 350, 325, 275. But really the big reason was because a bank can only lend on a house that's livable. So the fact that this mobile home, the mobile home here is livable, but the actual house was not because it wasn't finished. The bank got an appraisal and they realized that they can only lend on the 1 acre of land and the actual double wide itself. And so that appraisal came back at $250, and we ended up getting the house for $242. So that's how that worked out. So we ended up getting, a pretty good deal for the house. So we essentially got this house for free, based on appraisals. Okay, so another quick thing. In this community, there's zoning is a huge thing when you're looking at properties, because that tells you what you can and can't do. Property density, so how many units can you have on one lot and stuff like that. So this property is currently zoned R2RF. So this is Berkeley County. You can look this up on your county website, the zoning requirements. So the property is currently zoned R2RF, and here are the requirements. Dwelling units per parcel is 1. Minimum lot size is 1 acre. So this lot is actually non-conforming right now. We bought it like that. They moved this mobile home here in 1992, so it's been like that for over 30 years. But we're actually now going to rezone that to R2. And the reason we're doing that, so here's R2 right here, is because it allows you to get us to split the lot. So here you can see the minimum lot size for R2RF is 1 acre, and that's it. But in R2, it allows 30,000 square feet or 14,000 square feet if you have city water or city sewer. So this property has a water line that's running right through the front of it. Luckily, this mobile home already had city water when we bought it, but we just had to pay Berkeley County a tap fee, just like $3,350 to bring in city water to this house because it was on a well that's like sitting right over here. So that we can now have smaller lot sizes so that we can split this lot into 2. So it's going to be 1 here and 1 here. And the reason we want to do that is just so that we kind of separate the lots. And then that makes it where we can get maximum value for the lots, so we can refinance them individually. We could sell one if we want it. And once we get the appraisal on each one, that's going to be much higher than what it would be individually, vice what it would be for the appraisal for 2 houses on 1 acre. And it'd be easier to sell if you wanted, just because, when people are buying houses, they typically want to buy, obviously, 1 house and not 2. So it just makes a lot of sense for us to do that. Yeah, so that's the zoning. The next thing I kind of wanted to talk about is the work that we're doing. So I showed you the inside. So this is like a little sketch that I drew up in some little computer program of the actual layout of the house. This is not like exact, but it's pretty close estimate. So what we have is, there used to be a door here if this was the front of the house, but then we actually moved that door right here. And we opened it up, there was a wall right here. And then there was that one wall kind of down the middle of the house. But we got supports in to open this all up. So when you walk in the front door here, you have like a little laundry room, walk in, a little dining area. This is the kitchen over here with the island with the vaulted ceilings in the living room. Then you walk down the hallway with 3 bedrooms, the master bedroom, the master bath and closet, second bathroom, and then here you have a half bath and a kind of coat closet. So to do all that work, we have our estimate, a bid that we got from the actual person that did the work for us. So you can see it kind of includes everything in here, from framing, sheetrock, electrical, plumbing, AC, flooring, all the different stuff. That came out to $125, but he gave us, $5,500 off, so we ended up paying $120. Well, that's what we originally paid. A couple things came up with the fireplace and actually moving that door over. We ended up deciding we wanted to do that after he started. So doing that, then painting the outside, a couple other things that came up, which is why we always over budget anyway. But we ended up actually paying like around $126, $127 for all the rehab stuff. But I just wanted to kind of show you this to prove all my numbers. Okay. Now, what I also want to do is we estimated that the mobile home is still going to be appraised around $250 when it's on its half acre, and then this house, based on houses that have sold around, minimum we estimate to be around $350,000. So we bought it for $242, so that's the one side. We put about $130,000 into the other side with the renovations, as I was just showing you. And because of that, the value after is going to be 350,000. So that's about 200,000 in profit that we're making there. And whenever we go to refinance, is what I wanted to show you. Like the total value is going to be somewhere around 575,000. Interest rate with the local bank that we usually get around 6%. Then you got your property taxes and your home insurance here, which I'll show you where we got our taxes from. Usually you can go to your local county website and they'll have tax estimators for the different areas. So in here we are doing that original amount that we bought the house for at $242,500, and you can see the estimated tax value of about $4,800. Here in South Carolina, you have like a 4% and a 6%. So the 4% if your primary home. If it's like an investment property, you have to go 6%. So you can see it's a pretty big difference. Like if this was your primary home, you can get around $1,600, $1,700 taxes a year. But since it's a investment home, we have to go with the 6% value, and then so it's like 3 times as much more. So that's in South Carolina specifically. I don't know what it is like in other states, but that's what it is here. And the good thing about that is that the tax value is based off what you originally bought the house for. So whenever we go to refinance, we're going to refinance it up to a higher value and pull out a lot of money, but the tax basis is still going to be based off what we originally bought the house for. And then the county can reassess every 5 years. They then go and reassess all the properties in the county to calculate new basically tax values, but they don't go. They go up marginally. They don't actually go up a lot, but they do go up, and so that can cut into your cash flow. That's what a lot of people don't realize is that your mortgage, if it's a fixed rate mortgage, 30-year, your principal and interest are going to stay the same, but you have to account for that your property taxes might go up, which can cut into your cash flow. So just make sure you understand that if you're going to be looking into doing this. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of show this is an actual calculator that shows what this actual total monthly payment will be, $2,134. And then, so I created, I know this is a lot of numbers, but kind of look over here in these 2 columns, Bravo and Charlie, created an Excel spreadsheet that kind of runs a lot of equations and formulas to spit out cash flow and ROI for me. So you can see all the numbers we put in. The purchase price, the $242,500. This is that rehab cost that we ended up paying. So to the contractors, so the $127,200. This is the after repair value. So what we expected to be evaluated at is around that $250 for the mobile home and the $350 for the single family house on the right side of the property. And I guess a quick note is that this program doesn't fully kind of fit this property specifically because it's kind of like 2 homes and it's kind of 2 separate ones, but it's all kind of in this one program. So if this was just like 1 home on one parcel, it fitted a little better. But this is kind of what we got. I didn't feel like writing a whole nother script for this property specifically, but taking all the things into account, once we refinance, 30-year mortgage, 6% interest rate. These are important. So these are like the monthly things. Rent. So this was the rent that we were getting before we finished the house. So that mobile home is renting for $1,600. But then now that we finished the house, we're about to rent that out, and that's going to rent for around $2,600 based on comps in the area. So then we're going to be getting a total rent income of $4,400 a month. Our taxes, this is monthly, so that's $400 monthly. That's based on that number tax estimated that I just showed you is around $4,800. So that's about $400 a month, and that insurance was $150 a month. And then we also take out $100 a month and kind of set it aside for any capital expenditures. So that goes towards, replacing hot water heaters, HVACs, all that kind of stuff. Good thing when you're doing these big renovations is that you're fixing everything and everything is brand new. So you don't really have much maintenance costs, assuming that you do everything the right way and you don't shortcut things. We feel like $100 is enough. So this also takes into account like closing costs, the cost to refinance and stuff like that. So it takes into a lot of things. It takes a lot of things into account, I guess. So another big number here is this number here. So this shows us whenever we refinance, how much money we're actually going to pull out and it is actually going to go into our bank account. So that's based on the after repair value, which with both homes we estimating around $575,000. Whenever you go to do a refinance, a bank will typically lend on 75% of the ARV. So this 575,000 times 0.75 is how much money we'll be able to actually take out. So whenever you take into account your paying off that first mortgage that we had, the remaining balance, the money equity that has to be left in, and then the actual rehab costs and stuff and all the expenses that went into it, we're actually going to be making $45,000. And then also on top of that, we're going to be having about $200,000 in equity in that home because, like I said, we essentially got it for free because the appraisal was just based on that double wide and the single family home. It's gonna be around 350,000. Just say roughly 150,000 was everything that we had to put into it, but now it's worth 350,000. So we just created $250,000 in equity, and we're going to be tapping into that, and it's going to be a net profit in our bank account of 45,000, 200,000 total in equity. So that's where that $200,000 comes from. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so then this is the big number here that everyone cares about. So after you take into account all of with the income you're making, all of your expenses, you're going to be netting around $10,673 a year in cash flow. This ROI, it doesn't really make sense in this case because that's based on how much money you have left in the deal. But since we're actually going to be making money once we refinance, your return on investment doesn't really make sense because you don't have anything invested in the deal. It's all your investment is back out, so you got out all your original investment and an additional 45,000. So an ROI doesn't typically make sense here. If you know like what the BRRRR strategy is, the whole infinite return on investment. Once you make more money, once you pull it out, vice what you put into it, it's kind of what's happening here. So what really matters is almost $11,000 a year in profit, and on top of that, we made 45,000 in profit after doing this. So yeah, that's kind of the numbers on this property. Another cool thing is profit is sold, so we'd be selling it here at the 1 year mark. It's already been 4 or 5 months or so, which we don't sell it. But if we did want to sell it, we'd make around $210,000 after all expenses if we did sell it. So that's the home in a nutshell. It was a good property. It worked out well for us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I know I went over things very quickly. It's a lot of nuts and bolts to all the different things that I kind of touched on that we did that I kind of glossed over. So if you have any questions specifically, leave a comment, reach out to me, and we can talk about things more in depth. But this turned out to be a very good property for us. It's going to make a lot of money for us, and we're very happy with the way the work turned out. So like, subscribe, leave a comment, but we're out. Thanks.